Hello and welcome to today's class. Today we'll be looking at secrets to writing a winning CV. You need to learn how to do this because over the years we've seen a lot of CVs that, surprises one, like, does this person know what he or she wants, basically? So we're trying to make sure that you stand a better chance of landing that job, okay? So stay with me on this training. At the end of the training, I'll take some questions in the comment section. So let's get right into it. But first, I'm Anne Okori, the head of training at Contactor Support Solutions Limited, okay? And yes, you should be getting used to my voice by now. Okay, so the table of contents, what are we going to be looking at? We are going to look at what a CV is. We are going to look at why you need one, then what your CV should contain, common mistakes to avoid, and lastly we'll look at some key points that you must note when writing your CV. So let's get right into it. What is a CV? Basically, it's a document that you use when you want to apply for a job. It's a document you use to apply for a job. CV stands for Curriculum Vitae, which in Latin means the course of my life. It is also called resume as well, okay? So your CV should tell them about you, your professional history, and your skills, abilities, and achievements. Ultimately, it should highlight why you are the best person for that job, okay? That is what your CV should do. So why do you need a CV? We already know what a CV is. So why do you need it? You need it because it is a personal marketing document that you use to sell yourself to your prospective employers. So when employers, ask for people to apply for certain jobs, they can't interview everyone, they can't screen everyone. So what do? They ask for your CV. So your CV is like you marketing yourself, so that when the potential employer sees your CV, they want to give you a chance to come and interview and show them or tell them what you really have to offer. So if your CV doesn't cut it at the first stage, how do you move to the second stage? So it is a personal marketing tool that you must take seriously. Yes? Okay. So let's look at what your CV should contain. Now, basically, different stroke for different folks. There is no one size fits all, basically. So depending on the job you're applying for, it mustn't be in this order. But I think if you stick to this order that is here, that's starting with your name and contact info, personal information, all that, it makes a lot of sense, okay? So basically, you make sure your CV contains your name and your contact information, okay? Make sure you enter your name in bold. So you don't need to start with the title Curriculum Vitae. It's not necessary. We already know that's what the document is, okay? So start with your name and your contact information. When I talk about contact information, I'm talking about your email address, your phone number, and your residential address, and PO box if need be, okay? Then you start with your personal information, like your sex, your date of birth. I've seen people say, oh, you don't need to put date of birth. Now listen, the truth is, it depends on what is required from the required by your potential employee. So if your potential employer if your employer says that you should be within the ages of 25 to 35, for example, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't put your date of birth there. I mean, you qualify based on that, right? So what's the purpose of hiding it? So basically, when you say a CV is marketing you, I mean, it's your strong point. So why don't you put your date of birth? So for me, and I mean, I've been employing people and conducting interviews for years now, years upon years. So I know when I say that it's important that you state your date of birth so that one doesn't waste your time at the end of the day. So if your age doesn't cut it, I mean, if for example the employer didn't state the age requirements. You can decide to leave it out if you want, but I still insist. Personally, I think you should put it there. Put your age there so that nobody wastes your time. Not at the end of the day when they call you for an interview and they were expecting, for example, a 35-year-old person, and you're 50 and you come in and they're like, okay, we'll get back to you. They've wasted your time already. So if they know that, that age doesn't work for them, from your CV they can already see that, and they won't bother wasting your time inviting you for an interview. Okay. And also your personal information, like your date of birth and all, if it's not your strong points, it shouldn't be like the first thing they see. If your strong point is your skill, your skill level and the kind of skills you have, or the kind of educational background you have, then that information should come right after your name and contact information, so that you're selling yourself. So before they get to the point where they want to see your personal information, like your age, sex and all that, they already bought you, because they are taken aback by, wow, this person is so skilled, this kind of person we want. So by the time you now see the age at the bottom of your CV, they're like, oh, it's a bit older than we expected, but you know what, let's give him a chance. Okay, so instead of putting it where your age is not your strong points, okay, instead of putting it at the top of your CV, you can put it right after you've listed out all your strong points. I hope you understand me. Okay, so let's go to the next one, the objective and your career objectives. Basically, what are your expectations? What are your objectives? What are your objectives? Remember, your objectives have to be very smart, specific, measurable, and so on and so forth. So if your objective is to be a part of a multinational that encourages what do you call it now, that encourages what's called information technology, or that can help build one's capacity in information technology, or needs your skill or your whatever it is, basically what your objectives are. I don't want to start telling you what to write, but exactly what your objectives are: to be a part of an organization that values digital skills, that can enable them, maximize profit in this millennial age, things like that. You can put it under your career objective. To be a part of so team that just infuse your skill in it, selling yourself at the same time, to say that, okay, this is my objective, this is what I'm bringing to the table, this is what I'm expecting to get from whatever organization I'm working with. Okay, don't let it sound so demanding, basically. Do you understand me? Okay, so let's continue. So the next one is your educational background. Okay, so you state what schools you went to, what qualifications you came out with. So if, for example, you studied biochemistry in the university and you add a third class, I advise that you don't include your class, like what you graduated with. Okay, you don't need to include the class. Just say that you have a BSc in biochemistry, or you have whatever in biochemistry, because at the end of the day, what will make you stand out is not whether you have a first class or not. It is the skills, what you're bringing to the table. So the fact that you're a graduate already is a plus, regardless of whatever you came up with. But if you have maybe an upper class, a first class, or whatever it is, 2-1, whatever you choose to call it, that's good result, that's good grade. So include your grade, okay, because it sells you. But where you don't have a fantastic grade, don't include it. Just say you have a BS, you have an HND, you have an OND, or whatever in so field and from so school. So you add your educational qualifications, everything, and make sure you don't put it haphazardly. So if you're starting with primary, so start with primary, secondary, university, then postgraduate. Not you say primary, university, secondary, postgraduate. So you should arrange them systematically, right? So from top to bottom, or from bottom to top. Okay, so the next one is your work experience. So if you have work experience, this is your opportunity to state it. State where you've worked, the kind of responsibilities you had, and how you fared. What did you achieve? What did you bring to the table? What did your bosses say about you? Did you get any award? Did you get any recognition? Things like that you should state under your work experience. What was your JD? What was your job description? What were you responsible for? How well did you fare? So all those things should come under your work experience. Now, the next thing is your skills. What skills do you have? I always talk about skills. It doesn't matter what you study in university. I've seen people that studied, for example, mechanical engineering, and they end up being chartered accountant, not because they have a BSc in accountancy, they just went professional about it, and they are doing great. They are achieving so much, in this field. So what skills do you have? Do you have digital skills? Maybe you're a graphic designer, you can build a website. What is it? Are you good with transcription? Things like that. So just put them on the skills, okay? Then you come to training and professional certifications. What professional certifications do you have? Write it there. What trainings, whether local or international, whether online or offline, whatever training you've attended and you got certified for, please put them there. Nothing is too small and nothing is too big, especially if it's relevant to the job that you're applying for. Okay? Then the last thing is your interest and any other information you want to add. So, what are you interested in? For example, personally, I love baking, for example, and I went to learn how to bake so I can at least make some delicious snacks for my kids or for my family. So under my interest, I can say, I enjoy baking and things like that. I can add that, I enjoy teaching or something. These are your interests. These are things that you like, right? So what are you interested in? What are your aspirations, basically, or what hobbies or skills, not skills now, what hobbies and maybe other skills that are not relevant to the job, but you have them. You can state them under interest, okay? Having said that, so your CV should contain all this. So how you choose to arrange it depends on how you choose to market yourself. Remember, your CV is your marketing tool. So take note of that. So why do you need a winning CV? It's very simple. There are so many people out there vying for that job that you're vying for, okay? There's so many people out there that are trying to get in. For example, for every job that we put up on contactlimited.com/job, usually we get an average of 100, I'm just saying average on a good day. If we decide to promote it and advertise, and in fact we get much more. So let's say on average we get 100 people applying for one position, 100 people for just one position, and there's no way we can even interview all 100. So what do? It is the CV that you look at and you pick out those that you think have the potential to give you what you want. So you have a lot of people vying for the same job that you're vying for. So it is survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. So you need to position yourself to scale through. Basically, that is why you need a winning CV. So let's look at some common mistakes you should avoid. Now, ensure every information you entered, especially your contact details, are devoid of typographical errors. This one is a primary mistake. I've seen CVs. In fact, there is one in particular that the skills and everything, it matched what we wanted. So it was time to contact her for interview. Usually we send email and text message. So we sent the email, then it was time to send SMS, and we looked at the number and it wasn't complete. One digit was missing. Guess what? We couldn't reach her. And at this age, some people don't check email. That's one mistake a lot of applicants make. They don't check their emails. And sometimes it could be that the email even landed in your spam folder or something, so you don't even see it. that. And this person, that was how she missed out. Of course, she was unable to get the information. So make sure that your information is typed correctly. So whether or not you're the one typing it yourself, when you go to see the draft of your work, go through it critically. It's a marketing tool, so take it seriously. Look at it word for word. If there's any mistake, correct it before you get out the final copy. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, the next one is you don't need to write CV. Like I said in the beginning of this class, you don't need to write CV at the top. Okay, just write your name instead in bold. Now the third one is use a serious email address. Don't use something that makes you look unserious. Some employers, they will overlook this, but some will not. Okay, something like sexydamsel@gmail.com. I mean, this is not except you're applying for maybe to be a stripper at a club or something, then this email looks attractive enough for that, you know. But when you're looking for something professional, like a professional job, you should use serious emails, okay? Because some employers will just throw your CV in the trash when they see this kind of email address. Some may overlook it, but some may not. So why take the chance? So use a good email address that gives you a good image. Basically, maybe your name at gmail.com, or your name is usually better, really. But if your name is already taken on Gmail or whatever, Yahoo Mail, whatever mailing platform you choose to use, you can just come up with maybe your name and a number or something to give you that professional looking email address. Okay, so another common mistake you should avoid is the use of abbreviations. So instead of writing St. Michael's School, you write Mike's School, SCH, Mike's, you know. So it's not professional. So please avoid it. Don't use abbreviations. So also do not include the following in your CV. Don't include irrelevant work experience, except it showcases additional skills that can be applied to the position in view. Okay, except it showcases some skills that you have that can be applied in the position in view. Otherwise, leave it out. If it's something you're passionate about, you can add it under your interest or your hobbies and say, oh, I enjoy or whatever. Under additional information, you can put all that at the bottom of your CV. Okay, then avoid including lies and false claims. So they already told you that they want someone that's add a 2-1, and then you apply for the job and write 2-1 when you know you didn't have a 2-1, you didn't graduate with a 2-1. Or they want someone that's 24 years and you go in your CV and you change your date of birth so that it fits. No, it's wrong, because they will eventually find out, and it doesn't make sense. You would have wasted your time and their time, and then you would have ruined your reputation. So avoid false claims. Okay, the next one is your grades. If they are not exceptional, please, no need putting them, like I said earlier. So if your grades are not fantastic, like you had a 3rd class or whatever, please just leave it out. Just put, you have a BS in so and so, HN in so and so, OND in so and so. No need to include the grades. Okay, then your references. Okay, so this one is optional. So because you might not want your CV to be so long, you can leave that part out where you have to write, oh, reference Mr. AABBB, his phone number is this, It might not be necessary, except maybe the employer asked that you include it in your CV, that you include your references, then fine. If it's not requested, then really it's not necessary. Instead, you can just simply say references are available on request or something. At the end of the CV, you can just write it there. Otherwise, it's not really necessary. It's not really necessary, except you have a reference like Dangote and you really want to showcase him on your CV, or somebody that you know that's wealth power, that when they see, they're like, oh, this person knows this person, okay, maybe we should give him a chance, something like that. But otherwise, not really necessary. So let's look at some key points to note. some key points that you must note. So don't include a photo unless you're applying for a job where your appearance is important, maybe an acting job, modeling job, or something. Even front desk, sometimes it's not a bad idea to include it, okay? Because sometimes the employer just wants to see how you might give the employer, give you an edge, say, oh, this person actually is good. And then the CV is also okay, the skills are okay, let's give her or him a chance, So, but usually it's not necessary. But if you choose to, why not? But if you must, remember, you must make sure that that picture of yours is clear and is a professional passport-sized image, not the one where you're showing some parts of your body or you're looking like, for the ladies, you're trying to look sexy or whatever. No, make it a professional passport-sized image, not the one that will cover the whole of your CV. Just something small in the corner, very clear, and makes you appear good. Okay, so that if you must include your photo, okay, it's not a bad idea. So thirdly, make sure the keywords in the job description are prominent in your CV. So where the job description says that you need to, for example, have what do you call it now, email marketing skills, okay? So that email marketing skills is a phrase, is a keyword itself. If they mention like email marketing skills, so somewhere in your CV where you're selling yourself, you should be able to use those keywords to say, I have email marketing skills. Then you talk more about it. But those three words together, put them there. Do you know why? Sometimes we recruiters don't have time to manually go through CVs. So what they do is that they use applications. So these applications will just sieve out the entries that qualified based on the keywords that the employer has set, that okay, people that have the skill, people that are this age, people at that age. So the application just looks at all the CV and then says, okay, these ones are the ones that pass through. So you don't know if an employer that is using applications, applications like electronic applications, like digital applications, if you don't know what application is, like you have apps on your phone, those apps you have on your phone, okay? So applications and systems, automated systems, basically, that help them to sieve through, entries, CV entries, okay? So that they can select the right image without going through them manually. So make sure you use keywords in your CV so that in case an employer uses that, you can stand a better chance of scaling through. Okay, so the next one is write a curriculum vitae for every job opening, a custom CV. Write a custom CV for every job opening. Although it takes more time than simply sending a generic CV, it's actually worth it. So write a custom CV highlighting the skills and the work experience that make you an ideal fit for the role, and you will improve your chances of getting interviewed. So don't just write one CV and send it for every job you apply for. Always try to customize it to suit, go through the job description, responsibilities, all those information that it states, where when you see a vacancy, they will state it, that this is the job description, this is the requirement, this is responsibilities, things like that. So tailor your CV, make it align with those things. Remember, don't lie about it. If you're an ideal fit, when you see a job that you're an ideal fit for, you will know. So when you see it, just customize your CV so that it suits that particular application you're trying to make, and then send it. Don't just make one CV and send it for every job role. Please take your CV seriously. Remember, it is your marketing tool. Another thing is each word, phrase and sentence has to be carefully considered, thoughtfully selected, and presented in such a way that the reader is captivated, convinced, and ultimately compelled to invite you to interview. The next one is be consistent with the structure and styling. Underline important information. So if you're using underline, for example, to highlight maybe title, maybe like name, or let's say school, or years of experience, or this that, if you're using to highlight titles on your CV, make sure that all titles are highlighted with underline. But if you're using background color to highlight, make sure everything is background color to highlight titles. I don't know if you understand what I mean. If you don't understand, ask me in the comment section, I'll explain better. So be consistent with your structure. So if you're using a particular font, please use it. If you're using just 2 fonts, stick to those 2 fonts. Okay, so whatever style you're using to write out your CV, please be consistent. If you're using 1.5 line spacing, please be consistent. So whatever you're doing, please be consistent with the structure and styling. So use professional fonts, professional looking fonts like Times New Roman, Calibri, Garamond, Kandara. Just avoid all those coily ones that are so fancy and all that, and because they actually look unprofessional. So look for these professional ones I mentioned, and anything similar as well, that makes you look serious. So that is the end of today's training. So questions, you can ask me questions in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer them. Hope you learned a thing or two. Okay, thank you for hanging out with me today. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.